What happens when your boss tries to cut your team in half, and you end up cutting her entire department instead? I've worked in IT for years, and one thing has always been true. No one cares about us until something goes wrong. We're the people everyone complains about when they can't log in, yet the first ones they call when their system crashes. Our mortgage company ran the same way. We were the rule enforcers, the ones who annoyed everyone by protecting customer data and stopping fraud. But when someone wired 2 full house payments to a scammer overseas, suddenly our annoying rules became policy. Then came the budget meetings, and the start of the war. The VP over accounting, who I'll call Karen, decided she wanted to make her department look better by cutting mine. In one meeting, she played recordings of old calls from ex-employees as proof that the IT team provided poor service. What she didn't say was that those employees had already been fired months ago, replaced by high-performing techs with a 98% satisfaction rate. Still, she kept pushing to cut half of my 22-person team and use that money to expand hers. Every 2 months, we had to defend our existence. I'd show our stats. The IT help desk received more calls than any other department combined, handled twice the volume, and still maintained excellent feedback. But Karen didn't stop. She got sneaky. She instructed her employees to call my team for issues we couldn't possibly fix, like resetting vendor passwords that only an external company could handle, and then had them leave bad ratings when we said no. Our satisfaction score dropped from 98% to 72% overnight. I was furious. I called a few of her employees to ask why they left negative feedback. One admitted it. Karen told us to. She said it doesn't count against anyone. That was all I needed. I went straight to my boss. He smirked. The leash is off. Go get her. So I did. I quietly enabled call recording for every corporate department. Officially, it was for quality assurance. Unofficially, it was to find out what Karen's team was doing. Within hours, I realized most of their calls lasted barely a minute. They were short, cold, and sometimes rude. Their satisfaction rating plummeted below 50%. When I pulled recordings, I heard employees cutting off customers, using irritated tones, and sometimes making sarcastic comments. It was embarrassing. Then I looked deeper. Karen's department had 152 employees to handle just 30% more calls than my team of 22, and their calls were shorter, easier, and required almost no technical knowledge. It didn't take a genius to see the waste. I went to the CIO with my findings. Got something for me? He asked. Yeah, I said. It's accurate, ugly, and it'll save the company a lot of money. He laughed. That's my favorite kind of plan. Let's hear it. The next budget meeting wasn't really about the budget anymore. It was about survival. Karen came armed with the same cherry-picked examples and complaints about our downtime. I let her talk. Then I started my presentation. First, I played 4 real recordings from her department. Rushed calls, impatient voices, and rude remarks to customers. Then, I put up my color-coded charts showing the difference between her department and mine. Number of calls handled, total minutes worked, and satisfaction ratings. My 22 techs handled quadruple the workload with double the satisfaction. Then I revealed the pay scales. Her employees earned more than IT techs while doing far less work. The room went quiet. In plain terms, I said, her department could be reduced to 1/10 of its size and outsourced for half the cost. They process payments and grant extensions. Nothing that requires specialized skills. The CIO laughed out loud. The COO leaned forward, clearly interested. Karen looked like she'd swallowed a lemon. The meeting ended with everyone else dismissed except for me, my boss, and the CIO. I laid out the full proposal. Outsource the entire accounting call team. Keep it local. We protect systems, data, and compliance. They just process payments. The COO nodded slowly. Do it. A week later, a termination request came through, marked with the double asterisk code that meant quiet termination. It was Karen's. Over the next 2 months, her department was dismantled. First, the people with attendance issues, then the long-timers, then the rest. A few smart ones transferred to other departments before the layoffs hit. By the end, only 4 domestic account reps remained to handle special cases. The rest of the work was outsourced overseas. It wasn't pretty, but my 22-person IT team survived untouched. Karen's plan to cut us in half ended with her entire department gone, and the company saving millions.